Evening, Mr. Kodi. Thanks very much for your time. Well, SCOPA has been at loggerheads with this department practically for the whole of this year.
Yeah, no, indeed. We have been at loggerheads with them, true. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that it is a department that is in dire straits. It's a department that has, from a functional point of view, almost collapsed. And a department that is bankrupt, and yet maybe one of the most important departments, because water is what we all need to survive.
But what is it exactly or specifically that you have been asking this department to give answers to?
Well, look, Vuyo, the department has had negative audit findings from the AG for almost forever. But what really triggered this crisis was the fact that it had huge accruals and it had an overdraft. The instability at the top and the inability to account. I think the last straw was when we were asking them about the Guyana project, and we were not getting proper answers or explanations on as to why, for example, a borehole will cost 1.4 million rands. And so we decided on having a hearing with them that was structured in about 5 sessions, starting from last week, to package each hearing on the basis of particular themes. Well, we're done with them. I must say we're still not satisfied, but at least we are now all in agreement that the department is dysfunctional.
Previously, Mr. Koji, the popular thinking, certainly among people who were keeping a close eye on what the department was doing, how it was relating to structures like yours when it came to them having to account for their action. And a lot of that was ascribed to the fact that Nomvula Mokonyane was in charge, and a lot of people know how the relationship was between her and former President Jacob Zuma. And now one would have thought that with the new dawn, things would have changed. Why is it that seemingly the department is still treating Parliament with a great deal of disdain?
Well, I wouldn't really say disdain than the fact that the department, its senior leadership is disjointed. There is no capacity or capability, and they're therefore unable to achieve much. And anyway, they're presiding over a department that is literally bankrupt. We had these long sessions with them to deal with the issues. They have an acting DG who, from where I'm seated, does not deserve to be there at all. And she is struggling and is unable to pull her colleagues around her. You can see that it's a management that is highly factionalized and can never be effective on anything by itself.
Well, one would have thought that on the back of your inquiries and what has been going on for the whole year, in fact, since last year, and on the back of those Auditor General and SIU reports, the executive would also take a keen interest in sorting things out. Have you seen any of that, or even interest on the part of the executive to actually, you know, hold this particular department accountable?
Well, look, if I can make just one contrast. The audit committee gave me a file which contained their correspondences to the then Minister Nomvula Mokonyane. They were sending him letters on a quarterly basis detailing in great details the financial malfeasance in the department and the things that needed urgent attention, for which they never got a response. But they said the new minister, Nkwinti, They've written to him, and he has responded to their letters in terms of demanding that an action plan should be drawn to address the issue. So there is indeed a difference in terms of attitude between the old minister and the previous minister and the new minister, insofar as reacting to the recommendations, especially from the audit committee, which will deal with financial issues.
But then, in spite of all that, the department still remains, is still in dire straits. Just from what you've been able to see, or from your analysis of everything that you have been able to receive, including, of course, the responses by the minister, is it your sense that the problems are in fact beyond what any minister is able to deal with at the moment? In other words, even with the best attitude in the world, that minister is simply not in a position at this stage to turn things around. Is that your sense?
Well, look, I'm actually surprised that the new minister had to appoint someone from within to be an acting DG. I would have imagined that the president, who I understand has actually been requested, should have actually appointed someone external, because all those people there, they have to, to quote someone, small skeletons that make it difficult for any one of them to provide any effective leadership. I think the people who are there, they are also poisoned, that it will be very difficult to find people who are upright and who are focused on doing work, than people who are hostages of the past.
Now, in your statement this week, you have vowed to be, and I quote, relentless, precisely because you believe that water is important, especially for people who live in far-flung and remote areas of our country. What do you believe you can still do, number one? And do you believe that those who have the power to actually deal or rein this department in have as much energy, zest, and enthusiasm as you seem to have?
Look, Vuyo, one of the frustrating things, but which we, and I'm sure if you watched the hearings, there was a point when we had to debate amongst ourselves and then resolve that we're never going to allow the officials to frustrate us in as much as we might be upset. Look, take War on Lakes, that project. When you go into the books of the department, you realize it was an ill-planned project. There was no budget there to take money from other programs. You look at the bucket eradication program, same thing. They had to take money from other programs. It was unplanned for. So, but what we're saying, therefore, is that irrespective of the fact that there are these challenges, we are not going to just walk away and say we have met them now, it's over. We actually are planning that come early next year, when we have our committee weeks, we're already thinking that we must visit the Giyani project, which, as you know, 2.2 billion rands later, we don't have much to show for it. Secondly, we must visit the department's head office and talk to ordinary workers to get a sense of what is happening. So our relentlessness is in saying we are not going to go away. We are going to stick around and ensure that things are done right. We're happy that the SIU is investigating. It's at an advanced stage. Those that must be disciplined must be disciplined. Those who are criminals must be charged, so that people can realize and see that it cannot be business as usual.
Mr. Kodri, thank you very much for your time this evening. He is, of course, the chairperson of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts. The committee has taken a decision to be relentless when it deals with the water affairs and sanitation.